Welcome to the child category of the 2025 Asia Pacific Photography Awards. This category is for photographs where the main focus is human children. The image should be of a child or children, but may include other people, animals, or other elements that give context to the story of the image. A child is defined as being under 16 years of age. Images of newborns may be better suited in the newborn category. Entries may be traditional and/or interpretive. My name is Sarah McGregor and I will be your panel chair today. We have a wonderful judging panel, Rachel Smith, Johan van Kaan, Michelle Fay, Faru Yavari, and Amber Griffin. Welcome to the panel. We're going to do a quick run through of our top 10 images in the 2025 child category. Can we have the first image, please? Thank you, judges. We have a score of 82. Amber, would you like to challenge this one?
Yes, I would. I gave this image an 86. I think that this is a beautiful portrait of, I imagine, a child who lives on a farm and is clearly really comfortable being around cattle. I think one of the things that I really appreciate about this image is the level of natural symmetry that the photographer has managed to achieve in here. And also, I just really love the little echo of the hearts on the cows' heads in the background, with the hearts on the girl's legging. I just thought it was a really gorgeous portrait and it deserves a few more points.
Thanks, Amber. Faru, could we hear from you and your score, please?
Amber, I'm really hearing you. I give it 78. For me, it's very high standard of professional practice because of all those very powerful points you mentioned here. For me, is all about the connection between this little girl with the animal, the cows. It creates such a symmetry. The heart shape and the forehead of the cows actually create such a wonderful visual element and create again a heart shape in overall image as well. For me, the thing is really keep me to come higher was timing. I feel like if the photography is just a bit vague, for the smile, the laugh of the girl is a bit more settled, even the image would be more in terms of visual impact for me is more powerful, and also it's because of it's a trial category and it's an open area, so kind of some of the little spot like the number in the cow ear could be removed for because it's kind of distraction. But still I'm hearing you because it's such a beautiful, cheerful image.
Thanks, Faru. Can we possibly hear from Johan?
I gave this an 82. I'm actually happy to creep it up. After I gave it the 82 and sat down, I noticed the hearts, and then I thought, I really need to talk about this. So I'm glad you brought those up. I think the number makes it real. the number on the cow's ear says these are real cows, they're not pretend cows. The expression on her face is a great expression. It's a kid being a kid with animals around, and confidence and happiness is strong there. The only thing that I'd like to fix, if I could, if I had the opportunity, would be just the hands are a little bright, but that's not even a problem. What actually draws me to the photograph most is the cow in the left-hand top corner looking at me, the viewer, saying, why aren't I giving it a higher score? And so I will. It's persuasive.
Thanks, Johan. Amber, back to you.
Thank you, Johan. Faru, I think that I actually didn't see the heart shape with the two main cows in the foreground in the beginning, so thank you for pointing that out to me. That just adds an extra layer to this wonderful image. And Johan, I think you are so right. The authenticity of not tidying up those little things like ear tags, and the fact that the decisive moment of the little girl's laugh is just so natural and authentic. It's just lovely to see such an authentic and beautifully constructed image. So I really think this deserves at least an 86.
Thanks, Amber. Judges, can you please rescore? Thank you. Amber, you've done it. We have a silver with merit at 85. Congratulations to the photographer. Can we have the next image, please? Thank you, judges. We have a score of 84. Michelle, did you want to challenge that?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Got a challenge from Michelle. Take it away.
I scored this image 86. I don't know these children, but I would have this image on my wall. It's just the warmth and the happiness in their faces. They truly, maybe brothers and sisters or cousins, it really doesn't matter, but the joy that you can see in their faces, and they're looking at each other and totally engrossed with each other. It's just so serene, and the colors are so warm. It makes me feel warm and toasty, and it just feels so good that I think it could just go a little bit higher for us. It's just such a serene, comfortable, warm image that I could get lost in for quite some time.
Thanks, Michelle. Can we hear from Rachel, please? Angel score.
I scored this 82. I'm actually really happy with it there. I'm happy to be convinced otherwise, Michelle. But for me, I really enjoy the engagement between the subjects. I think that's really lovely. But all of the silhouettes have a little bit of a cutout feel about it. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but I feel like it's just not. It's not as cohesive or smooth, I guess, as it could be. Like if you look at the forehead of the girl looking up, and just all of those lines just seem a little bit cut and paste, which detracts from the overall feeling of the image for me.
Thanks, Rachel. Johan, could we hear from you?
Yeah, Rachel, you're kind of ruining it for me. I quite liked it until you said that. But I do love it. And I think the thing that actually draws me into it, I gave it an 84, and I'd be happy to just squeak it up a mark or so, is the serendipity of the flying birds. They're just random, but they add an element of movement and happiness to the photograph. And overall, it's handled in a wonderful way. And I'm actually going to go up a point or two. So, yeah.
Thanks, Johan. Back to you, Michelle.
it's just that whole, it's so serene. The two dunes coming down, it meets them at the legs. It's like someone's spying on them and has found these two little kids that are totally enjoying each other's company. And it's a beach, it's relaxed, it feels warm. And I really can't see the cutout bits kind of don't really bother me that it is such a harsh silhouette because it really draws you into them, and then you could the light of the sun, and then it kind of draws you out to all the birds flying around randomly and brings you back to those two little children really enjoying themselves and smiling and being happy. So if you didn't smile, just leave it where it is. But if you did smile, just bring it up just a little bit and join me.
Thanks, Michelle. Judges, can you please rescore? Thank you. We have a score of 84, which is a silver award. Congratulations to the photographer. We have the next image, please. Thank you, judges. We have an initial score of 83. Faru's got her hand up to challenge. Faru, can you tell us your score, please?
I gave this beautiful image 88. For me, it's excellent visual communication, interpretation, and emotion. It's such a beautiful, divine image in color palette, lighting, and storytelling. As a little girl, I'm actually grown up, but I just remember myself as a little girl, and remember my dad always talking about that you are a girl in a country that is really male dominant, but you are more than that. So he always pushing me to just push the boundaries and study more, just like study all the storybook, be nerd in the mathematics and things like that, and just push the boundary and to create a bright future for myself. This image just remind me my dad, and I really think in terms of the storytelling, in terms of the beautiful lighting, well designed. And you can see even the frame of Eisenstein, sorry, it's really hard for me to say it in English, but in the bottom, and the word is just, you were born to stand out. For me, it's just, the story is really powerful, and it's so refined in terms of post-production. I can't see any mistake anywhere in this image. So I give it 88, silver with distinction. I believe that it sits very well in that range or even higher.
Thanks, Faru. Amber, can we hear from you, please, and your score?
Sure. So I'm at the other end of the scale, and I scored this image a 76. I do agree with you that for all of those things that you've said about the positive aspects of this image. But for me, this image is really quite strongly let down by the compositing and by the inaccuracies in focus on the image. If you look at the image at 100%, the gold frame is very out of focus and the contents of the frame are very sharp. There's some kind of weird stuff going on behind the girl's hair where it intersects with the background. And the thing that really was the clincher for me is the way that the table intersects with the horizon line on the background. It just doesn't really make sense from a photographic point of view. And then the final thing was the frame of Einstein. I think that is included in there is also much sharper than the rest of the things that are surrounding it. So for me, I couldn't give it, I couldn't bring it any higher than a 76 just for those craft elements that weren't working for me.
Thanks, Amber.
Me?
Are you putting your hand up, Johan, or are you using your hand?
Yes. No, I
No.
am. I'm putting my hand up.
Okay, Johan.
I don't like to talk badly about images, but all of those things that you said, Amber, they ring true. The legs on the table just aren't fitting into the way the picture is formed. But the thing that was a real clincher for me was that in the frame there are 4 pieces missing, but on the table there's about 6 or 8. And if you're telling a story, you need to have the facts right, and that's one of the facts. And so that let me down. And then I did feel there was a bit of over brightening on the child's face, and it took away from the thoughtfulness of the expression. So yeah, I was just a bit disappointed. And then I keep looking at that toe that's down the bottom, and it takes me to a place I don't want to be. I want to be in the storytelling part of the image. So I gave it an 83, and yeah, I'm kind of happy there.
Thanks, Johan. Back to you, Faru.
Thank you, Amber, for telling all this detail. I call them refinement, and if it's just like I can see all these like the sharpness of the word on the wall, or maybe it like this, the table maybe is not as straight at the bottom, but still. It's a very powerful image in terms of a story, in terms of color palette, in terms of thinking beforehand, planning, capturing. And I think the lighting actually doesn't have problem here. I think the lighting is very well handled. I look at the shadow. I think all element has their own cohesive shadow in terms of the lighting coming from the right side. I might like saying, okay, maybe you're right, Johan, the pieces, like 4 pieces missed, but it doesn't really, the fact that 6 or 8 pieces on the table, and it let me down from the very strong and powerful story is saying. For pointing that the story, I think like Eisenstein photo in the bottom in the suitcase, and all the little books there, they are talking about the story is about pushing boundaries, story is about education and how important in that family, for the photographer to just mentioning education and being nerd and trying so hard is really important. And that's the reason I gave it 88. For me is more than just a simple photo of a child and composite. It's more than that. And Eisenstein photo is very old, brownish color, and actually the frame has the same. Perhaps it's a word of Eisenstein. There is a puzzle happening here. So I know there are some pieces missing here. I know some refinement more required in this image, but I think in terms of a story, sometimes we can forgive this little thing.
Thanks, Faru. Judges, can you please rescore? Faru, if you re-enter your 88. Thank you. We have a silver award at 83. Congratulations to the photographer. Can we have the next image, please? Thank you, judges. We have an initial score of 80. Johan, you have a challenge available there. Would you like to take that challenge?
Yes, please. I'd love to challenge it. Yeah. I gave this an 85, and I tried to understand what I was looking at as a metaphor for children, and about how children never stand still, about how they're always moving. If I squint my eyes, it looks, this combination of hands looks like lots of children playing, and I can get this imagery out of it without being too literal about what I'm seeing. And the fact that it invokes the possibility of that made me score it an 85. The fact that it challenged me in not being an obvious picture of a child. We all know that children are fast moving, hard to pin down, and expressive. And that's what this set of photographs tells me. I gave it an 85.
Thanks, Johan. Haru, can we hear from you, please, in your score?
I give it 76. The other side, Johan, of you. I think like this image could be very strong if it was one strong image instead of sequence of 3. Especially, none of them are really strong in terms of storytelling. I'm still lost, but exactly, I know the children is just like discovering everything with hand. I have another interpretation of maybe that child have some I don't know, maybe some problem, disability or something, so hands are really playing a main role here. But I still think is none of these 3 images is really strong to tell what exactly the story is and why it should be 3. So I'm listening, Johan, if you just guide me through that.
Thanks, Faru. Rachel's showing some support there for Johan. Can you?
Yep.
Yep. You speak.
I would like to speak. So I have scored this 84, an easy talk up because I was quite on the fence as to just how far I was going to go here. I'm getting a slightly different story with this. I think Faru touched on it a little bit there. I feel like that there's very strong intention of not showing any more of the child, because perhaps this child, this is how they are trying to communicate. They're trying to have a conversation with us. They're trying to tell a story, but perhaps their hands are the only way that they have available to do that. So I feel like I'm not fully understanding what that child's communication is, but I think that if you're not vocal or you're not feeling like you're seen, and you're trying to be visible in the way that you're doing it, and that's what I'm getting out of this. So I'm quite happy to come up a few more points and join you in silver with merit, Johan.
Thanks, Rachel. Back to you, Johan.
I'm going to give this image a title, and it might be inappropriate, but I'm going to hang on it. And then I want everybody to score after they have thought about what that title means with this set of images. The title is, I don't have enough words to say all I want to say. Now score.
Thanks, Johan. Can judges please rescore? Great work, Johan. We have a silver with merit at 85. Congratulations to the photographer, and thank you, judges, for your hard work on that one. Can we have the next image, please? Thank you, judges. We have a score of 84. We have a challenge available. Amber, would you like to challenge this one?
Yes, I would. So I gave this image an 85 because I sat with this image for a while and I just could not take my eyes away from the expression on that little girl's face. And the more I sat with it, the more I sort of got a story from it. And I might be way off the pace here, but for me, there's a real sadness in that little girl's eyes. It could be that she is longing for a baby sister. She perhaps may have lost a baby sister. or I don't know what the story is, but the beautiful way that she is holding that doll, and just the sadness that is really evident on her face. I think that this image deserves to be up in the next scoring range.
Thanks, Amber. The scoring's quite consistent across the panel. Does someone else want to throw in a comment here? Michelle's got her hand up. Go for it.
It really grabbed me, this image as well. Maybe mum has a baby and now she's been outed as a little girl, and so she wants her own baby because obviously mum's not giving her as much attention as what she did before baby came along. And so now mum's given her her own baby, but it is that sadness. It really grabs you. And it's just, by the way, I scored it 84.
85, Michelle.
85?
Yep.
So yes, I was right with you, Amber. It just absolutely grabbed me, and I couldn't not stop looking at that little girl's face and how sad she is, and that little baby on her lap, and you just want to know more of the story. And like you can make your own story up about what it is. And she is holding that baby so gently. And does she want to hold her own little sister or brother, or you just can come up with so many ideas of what's going on in the background, but it's the look on her face, and she is literally staring into my soul.
Thanks, Michelle. Faru's got her hand up. Go for it, Faru.
I'm really haunted with her gaze and her sadness as well. It's really powerful. It's really strong. You feel like your heart is just I forgot the word. Your heart is just going out for her, and you wanted to just like go and hug her for all those emotional impact. I give it 82, and I wanted to be higher. I really wanted to be higher. But when I just like look at around the image, I noticed there are some weird thing happen in the right side of the image. It's like the texture kind of blurry and creates some halo in the bottom of the image, and also cropping is a big problem, could be wider from the top. So her gaze, her expression would be mostly in the center of the image and create more stronger composition. So I'm sitting in a silver, and I'm comfortable here. I can deny the expression is really strong. The story is already there, but in terms of post-production, it just keep me stay there.
Thanks, Faru. Amber, do you want to wrap this one up?
Sure. I do know what you mean about those slightly weird marks on the background and the sort of little dark things. They are slightly distracting. I don't actually have a problem with the crop. I quite like it. But I think that they are very minor things, and they did stop me from going higher. I really think that in the child category, this is just such an enduring portrait of this little girl, and I really think it deserves to be rewarded. It's a beautiful capture. Come up.
Thanks, Amber. Judges, can you please rescore? And we have a silver with merit at 85. Thank you. Can we please have the next image? Thank you, judges. We have a score of 81, and we'll accept that score. Can I have some feedback for the photographer, please?
What piercing eyes. This image has a very strong presence when you look at it. The gaze back is wonderfully strong, and there's this lovely kind of match between the disarray of the hair and the disarray of the background. there's a few little things that are a little bit niggly that if it had been possible, it would have been made the image stronger. There's a fold over the child's left-hand shoulder that just drags your eye away from their presence. And there's a little dot in the crease on the right-hand side that once you see it, you can't unsee it. Generally, it's a great image, well deserved of a silver. Yeah, but just a few little things that could have been picked up.
Thanks, Johan. Can we have the next image, please? Thank you, judges. We have an initial score of 89. And we have a challenge available for Michelle.
Yeah.
Michelle, would you like to take that one?
I would. I scored this image 94. The joy that it gives me just by looking at it, I do not know these people at all. And I would have this hanging in my wall just for the joy alone. You can see the joy in the guy's face, whether that is Papa or Granddad or whoever, and the little girl dancing around and just having the time of her life with this amazing man playing music. They're both in bare feet. They're dancing, and it's just so well executed, so well captured. They're both in focus. You can see that he's playing music, and just the movement around, it just brings me so much joy. And I don't know how you can do that so successfully with complete strangers.
Thanks, Michelle. Johan, can we hear from you, please, and your score?
Okay, I might have been a bit tough on this. I gave it an 84, mainly because I struggled personally with the transition between the beautiful painterly aspect of the movement and then the photographic part of it, which is strongly photographic. And here you are looking at a photograph of a man and a child. And the transition between the two somehow didn't work for me. And I felt frustrated by that. So my score reflected it. But keep talking.
Thanks, Johan. Rachel or Faru, would one of you like to talk about this?
Yes, of course. This is really a strong image, and there are so many layers here. In terms of the technique, using the motion blur and to capture the joy and the dance of this little girl, perhaps for her father, and enjoying the music and trying to cheer up, to create such a beautiful movement and lots of like a texture happening here as well. Each of them, it's each of these little girl dancing with the movement by itself, they are really strong. And also the background texture, the color palette is warm, is golden, and it's cheerful again and add to the story. The beautiful smile of the father and capturing his movement is like music is coming from his violin, and it's just going through the child body and moving around. So I think it's like there was so much here. I gave it 88. I'm really close to the 90. Perhaps I really wanted to get score it in 90 or and above. And thanks, Misha, for making a challenge. I'm definitely coming up. The only question here for me was the position of the child. Like it's in the center. It's like the way the foot is together, the hand is just kind of a bit unresolved for me. It was like timing here for the main subject of the children is really a big problem. but the rest of the image is breathtaking. It's outstanding for sure.
Thanks, Bru. Amber, did you want to talk about this one? You're there supporting Michelle with your score.
Yeah, sure. I was at 93 and I'm going to come up on 94 and join you, Michelle. I think that this is just a beautiful portrait of I think a little girl, and yeah, I'm not sure either father or grandfather, but the connection between the little girl and the man is so beautiful. And I don't have a problem at all, Johan, with the contrast between the moving aspects and the still. It's just long exposure versus flash, I think. And I think they actually, that compositionally, they really work in really well together. If we didn't have the still image of the little girl, it might be a lot harder to work out what all of those shapes and blurry images are. But because we do have that, I think that it just really informs exactly what is going on here. And as far as her arm posing goes, Faru, I mean, she's a child. So they're never going to be perfect though. I love the authenticity of her, and I just think it's gorgeous. It definitely deserves to be in gold.
Thanks, Amber. Michelle, bring it home.
All right. There's no real complaints. Johan, you definitely said earlier that little children don't stay still. This little girl was not standing still. She is dancing with joy and moving around and around and around. The hands, she's just a little girl. She's just trying her damnedest to do what she's learning in ballet. She's got so much joy within her face with that man and having the time of her life. And I think if we didn't have that really still photography side of it, we would lose the story. We wouldn't have the joy. It wouldn't make you smile. It wouldn't make you think, oh, I wish I was a ballerina and I could actually dance, because it's never going to happen. So it's just beautiful and it gives me such joy. The clothes are gold and I think we all need to come up.
Thanks, Michelle. Judges, can you please rescore? Thank you. We have a gold at 91. Congratulations to the photographer. Can we have the next image, please? Thank you, judges. We have an initial score of 84 and Johan with an automatic challenge at 92.
Right. That's awesome. What an unusual image. What a wonderful way of talking about growing up as a kid and still being a kid at the same time. The combination of left and rights as you go around the grid to make up a kid growing up. So I'm going to take a stab and say the top middle kid is the youngest one, and I don't even know. But it's anthropological, is that the right word? Where it's showing how things change with time. And it's just stunning because it's mesmerizing. The expressions are similar. I like the join that runs down the middle of the faces of the conjoined images to show the difference between before and after. I don't even want to explain it. It's just mesmerizing. And you look into the eyes and 18 eyes staring back at you, and they're challenging you, and they're making you think about what it is that makes a difference in the appearance of kids. And you wonder what are they thinking, and how's that changed with maturity? It's mesmerizing, and the beautiful treatment in black and white. The framing is simple, and yeah, I gave it a 92.
Thanks, Johan. Farouk, could we hear from you, please?
Yes, Johan, I'm again in the other side of you, and I really enjoy it. You're making conversation. Johan, I'm seeing something that maybe helped us. When you zoom into the image, actually, I didn't get the story at all. I was like, this is three brothers, this is just one person, all kind of similar, but at the same time not similar. The eyes is different. When I zoom in, I can see like 100% zoom in. You can see there is a line happen in the left three images and also in the right three images. And the center is the combination of the two faces from the right and the left. Can you see it? Just check out in the middle row, three faces. If you're looking at the hair is different, like one of the right in the middle, the hair is at upper, and the left side and the right side is it. If you have just look, there's this a very minor change. It's like a line happening in this face. The three left faces and the three right faces, and the middle there is no line. I clearly can see it. No? I feel like there's a story here that still I'm confused. I can see the line, and I feel like the center images, the center subject as combination of the left and the right. I still don't know why it should be like that and what's the story about. So I gave it actually 78, highly commended because of the lighting happening here. It's very beautifully, thoughtfully, the lighting is settled. There's a beautiful rim light happen around the jaw. And it's for me, it's kind of maybe character study of three brothers, perhaps. I'm still lost in the storytelling of this image. And another thing I was like thinking about, why is the line, the gray line in the right and left is thicker than the left and bottom? And what is the framing line about? So I'm listening.
Amber's desperately got her hand up.
Okay.
And your score, please.
I scored this image in 83, and I think that I've underscored it. I feel like I understand what is going on here. I think that this is three siblings, and the central vertical three are the actual images of these kids. I think we've got I'm not sure what the age difference is, but we've got a boy up the top, I think maybe a girl in the middle, and maybe a slightly older boy in the bottom. And then what the photographer has done, they have separated the face of the central figure and then contrasted it to the two siblings on the outside images. Now, the reason that I was down in low 80s with this originally was because I found that those lines to be really uncomfortable, but I actually think it's a really clever technique that the photographer has used here, because it has sparked so much confusion and so much conversation amongst us. I really think that this is a study of sibling similarities and differences, and it's a really, really interesting piece. The only thing that slightly bugs me is that oh, maybe, no, I don't think it is actually a problem. The boy up the top has been he's been split so that his face is in the center, like closest to the center, and same with the boy down the bottom. But the central, I think, girl, her face is on the outside of those two. So really, that's actually quite a balanced and clever way to have split them up. I've underscored this, and I'm going to be coming up.
Thank you. We've got hands up everywhere. We'll go to Rachel and then Michelle. Rachel, go for it.
Yeah, I was on 86, happy to come up and join you, Johan. I'm getting similar read to Amber on this, and like Amber, it was initially those lines, especially the top left image, that I struggled with. But I think this is actually beautifully highlighting how similar that we can be on the outside. And I think that the combination of the images is really highlighting the fact that those similarities are actually only very, very minor because we're all quite unique. And so reading along those lines makes it very easy for me to step up higher. And I do get very much that diamond shape from the way that the composited halves have been put together. So I think it's all very intentional. And I think even though the lines put me off initially, that they are also very intentional. So I'm happy to come up.
Thanks, Rachel. Michelle, do you want to finally get your turn?
Yeah, please, can I return?
You
When I first saw this image, I was like, WTF. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Then the more we've talked about it and the more we've looked at it, it's like, they are all siblings, and how scarily alike are those siblings when you put them in such great lighting that it just takes everything has peeled away but their faces, and the fact that they've joined and seeing that line, yes, it makes you uncomfortable, but it's like these siblings are so alike in faces, but are they really alike? But you can just, I don't know, when I was scored at 81, I was way off the mark. The more I look at this image, the more clever I think the photographer is to do this and split it. And the more you look at it, you can see how it's been done. And it's an extremely clever way, an extremely clever thing to do.
Thanks, Michelle. Back to you, Johan.
I'm disappointed because I, like everybody else here, didn't fully understand the image, and I only gave it a 92. It is masterful. It is mastery of the art of photography. It's mastery of the art of capture. The fact that they were able to combine these images, showing the distinction between each side, but in a way that they didn't look overly matched up, but they looked like something you could eventually work out the puzzle. It's getting that same expression, that neutral expression out of the three siblings was fantastic photography. And then to present them to us in such beautiful black and white as well. You know, they've removed the problems of skin colors, and they've given us something that we can fully appreciate. It becomes an incredible graphic. Imagine this image 2 meters by 2 meters. It would just freak you out. I love this image. I've given it a 92, and I feel disappointed with myself.
Thanks, Johan. Judges, can you please rescore? And we have a gold at 93. Next image, please. Okay, we have quite consistent scoring with a silver at 84. Johan's got his hand up for a challenge.
Yeah.
Go for it, Johan.
Look, it's not going to take us much to get it up to the next level. How wonderful! What a gritty image of life in the shearing shed, making your kids do all the hard work, the detailing, the tattoo on the kid holding the sheep, the nonchalance, that I don't care about you kind of look as well. It's quite strong and very striking, and it's brutal. The lighting is brutal, the environment is brutal, and you've got these two kids in there, and it's quite strong with that as well. Yeah, I gave it an 88. We just need a little more of a squeak, and we get up to something with the shine on it.
Thanks, Johan. Michelle, can we hear from you, please?
Yeah, I really wanted to love this image, but their skin has been overdone, and it just looks like plastic, is particularly the little girl. I really wanted to love this image. I love the grunginess of it. I think if they had have just towed back on the skin, we would have been able to score it a lot higher. And just that light in the top left keeps dragging my eye up there, and it really needs to be down with what these two kids are doing. The idea of it is really good. I just think it's overdone just a touch.
Thanks, Michelle. Rachel's got her hand up. Rachel, go for it.
I'm sitting at 84, which I think is pretty much bang on where the image landed. Don't particularly mind the skin whatsoever, Michelle, and I hadn't actually noticed it until you said it, so it kind of bothered me. I'm probably not going to take much to talk up Johan, but the thing that really would have made this image stronger for me would have been if it was cropped without the child on the left, because I feel like what I love about it is the child holding the sheep, and the sheep have pretty much exactly the same expression. They feel exactly the same about the situation they're in. They're so over it. They don't want to be there. They're completely and utterly drained, whereas the child on the left is actually engaging with someone in the background, whether it's a photographer or somebody else in the building, and they're detracting from that quite almost humorous story that I'm getting from the other two.
Thanks, Rachel. Back to you, Johan.
I like the representation of like a cigarette hanging out of the mouth and with the lollipops thing, and it's such a great nod to dirty old shearing sheds. I quite like that light in the top left-hand corner that starts with a bit of, not even a dark bright light, it's a little bit of lightness. Then you follow the stick down and you end up on the shearing shed floor, and then from there you find all sorts of wonderful ugly things. You find the cutting piece, you find the dirty old sheep, etc., the Roxy shoes. It's a wonderful tableau of life in a shearing shed. And I agree with you, Rachel, about it would have been so much stronger. It would have been gold worthy if it had just been the kid with the sheep. But it's not, and this is what we've been presented with. So I took a couple of marks off to bring it into a silver distinction. See what you can do.
Thanks, Johan. Judges, can you? Oh, Amber wants to say something before we wrap that up. Go for it, Amber.
Sorry, I feel like I need to say this. I think that the inclusion of the little girl on the child on the left is actually a really strong part of the narrative, because this just seems to me like a classic firstborn doing all the work, and the second child just kind of cruising and maybe managing the situation, or just kind of being there and, you know, not really actually doing any work or helping. That was just how I read it.
Thanks, Amber. Can we please get judges to rescore? Well done, everyone. That's a great discussion. We have a silver with merit at 85. Congratulations to the photographer. Can we have the next image, please? Thank you, judges. We have a score of 81. Do you want to challenge that, Johan?
Yeah, guys. Teens, tweens, they can be very awkward to photograph. And there's this wonderful awkwardness to this image. There's a gangliness in the legs. There's an awkwardness in their response to each other and the camera. But the photographer has put a bit of work into the design of the image. You've got a bright light on the left-hand side that drags you into the photograph and explains how the people are lit. The inclusion of the artwork on the background creates a common color palette for the whole image. There's a simplicity to it, the use of the red and the yellow on either side to mirror the subjects. And there's an honesty in there. You know, there's a truthfulness about them being that age and an awkwardness that's quite beautiful. Yeah, I gave it an 86 for the storytelling elements in this image, really, and the wonderful balance.
Thanks, Johan. Faru, do you want to comment on this one?
Yeah, of course. This is such a subtle, cheerful image, and this is about the twins. They're identical and they have their own taste. At the same time, different color you can see in the shoes. It's very nice, clean, minimal, simple, but at the same time is powerful as well, and I give it 78 for all those reasons, Johans. The thing is really keep me to not coming higher is the control of writing. There are so much overexposing happen on the hair, part of the skin, especially the left ear and even the flower. So I think it's a very beautiful, subtle, cheerful image, and I feel I'm comfortable sitting in the highly commended area.
Thanks, Faru. Michelle, do you want to comment on this one?
Yeah, I really like this image, and I scored it an 83, and I may be being a little bit mean, and I'll come up a little bit. It's the joy in them, and I love how everything is synced. They're the same but different, and the photographers managed to capture that. And when you look at the flowers on the table, one's got red and yellow, the other one's got yellow and white, so it kind of mirrors what they're doing. The background photos mirror the colors that are within the image, and I think it's been very styled extremely well, just to make everything even but different. So it's like telling the story of these girls, yes, we're identical twins, but we are different. And there's little ways of that they've done it, and I think they've done it very well. And so I will be coming up with you, Johan.
Thanks, Michelle. Johan, would you like to bring this one home?
Everything that everybody has said. I'm not quite seeing the overlighting on the flowers, but they stand up quite beautifully against the orange background. The fact that one of the girls has got their hair back and the other one's got them forward. I mean, they're opposites, but exactly the same. So it's quite joyous. And I'm not actually asking you to come up to me, but I'm asking you to just give it a little bit more to nudge it into a healthy silver. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we please have judges rescore? And we have an 83, which is a silver award. Congratulations to the photographer. And that's the final image in the top 10 for the child category of the 2025 Asia Pacific Photography Awards. Thank you to all the entrants and to our wonderful panel for your hard work today.